Inevitably, every men's self-improvement channel delves into the topic of dating. It's a natural progression because a lot of guys are trying to improve themselves, be it physically or mentally, so they can enter the dating market and find a girlfriend. What I believe most channels do wrong is they give old, repetitive, convoluted, and outdated advice on every single aspect of dating. Literally making hundreds of videos on simple subjects like how to respond to text messages or 5 ways to make her love you. This is way too much in my opinion, and really it's only done to pad video numbers, nothing more. You don't need a master's degree worth of knowledge to simply talk to girls. You don't need to be a top G to get a girlfriend. Just be a normal guy that takes care of himself, has ambition, and adds some sort of value to someone else's life. We are only going to make one video on dating. We're only going to make a single video on how to find a girlfriend. This video is going to go against a lot of advice you might have heard on YouTube, but it's what I believe works in our current culture and what I have seen personally work for people that I know in real life. First, let's start with something that you need to fix right now. You need to quit watching any kind of explicit material. It's rotting your brain in a multitude of ways. Besides giving you false expectations of women and depleting every ounce of dopamine that you have in your brain, it's simply not fair to yourself and to girls you will date in the future for you to be addicted to stuff like that. A lot of guys would have no problem dating and finding a great relationship, but this habit zaps every ounce of motivation from them and doesn't allow them to start pursuing a relationship or doing any of the self-improvement that would make them a better catch. Next, let's talk about another very important factor when it comes to dating, which is experience. A lot of people that are good at dating and never had trouble finding a girlfriend started their dating experiences young. They had girlfriends early on in school, and that type of experience is invaluable, especially when you're growing up. And if you didn't have those kind of experiences, you're behind the game. But it's not too bad. Think of it like this. Every school had a tough guy, and that tough dude would fight people a lot. In the entire years of high school, he could have had multiple fights, but if you counted those fights in terms of minutes, they probably lasted 10 to 15 minutes total. Now, if you sign up to an MMA gym and eventually start sparring, you're going to get more fighting experience within a week than a tough high school bully did in all 3 years. That is to say, with deliberate practice, even if you never dated growing up, you can easily catch up in practically no time. There is one last point I want to make about experience. There really is no substitute for it, which is why I find that if you're watching hours and hours of dating content, you're wasting your time. It's like trying to learn how to dance by reading a book. You can read 300 pages, but one dance lesson where you actually dance will trump all of that. The point of all this being, the best way to get good at dating and eventually finding a girlfriend is by starting to date right away. Go on 10 dates. You will not be the same person on date number 10 that you were on date number 1. Subconsciously and consciously, you will have gathered so much information and experience that naturally you will become better at it. Compared to watching 10 dating videos on how to text a girl or how to make her fall in love with you, which will more than likely be a complete waste of time. But now we head into a new problem, and you might be asking, okay, you're right, experience is important, but how am I gonna get 10 dates? I can't even get one. Where to meet girls. There's some tired advice I've heard over and over again that I think is just downright terrible. Join a yoga class or pottery class and meet a woman there. I've heard this advice echoed over and over, and I think it's really bad advice. Joining a class just to meet girls reeks of desperation, and people will know why you're really there pretty fast. Don't be that creepy guy that joins hobbies just to get girls. Next is approaching a random girl at a gym, coffee shop, or grocery store. Unless a girl is giving you clear signals that she's interested and wants you to talk to her, I would never bother approaching random girls in public. It seems like a complete waste of time unless you're super extroverted, charismatic, and a smooth talker. But in that case, you probably wouldn't be watching or needing this video. So if this commonly given advice sucks, what actually works? In 2023, what really works is dating apps and social media like Instagram. Other traditional avenues, like meeting a girl through your friend group, at a workplace, or at school, are all fine too, but not everyone has those things available to them. Dating apps and social media are available to every guy, and despite the moans and groans from a lot of men, they work great if you put in the effort. Here's a chart showing how couples met in 1995 compared to 2017. A majority of people are meeting online now, and this was in 2017. The number has risen a ton since then. That is all to say, if you're not utilizing Instagram and apps like Hinge, Tinder, and Bumble, you're way behind the game, and waiting to meet your perfect girl in a grocery store is probably not going to work out. So, with all that said, how do you put this all together? Here's 3 simple steps that are not really simple. They each have a ton of sub-steps that you need to complete, but they're a good starting point. So let's go through them right now. Number 1, glow up enough so that you're somewhat attractive. You don't need to be a male model to get a girlfriend. Take a walk outside and you'll see plenty of average guys with girls. Do the bare minimum at least. Start working out, get regular haircuts, have a skincare routine. You already know we have a ton of videos on this stuff. Number 2, make a pop-in Instagram profile and dating profile. It's time to stop trying to be that edgy guy that swears off all social media because you think everyone else is sheep except for you. It's not cool anymore. Take cool photos, make an IG, and make a dating profile. We have videos on how to do all 3 of these things. Number 3, go on as many dates as you can. You need experience more than anything. Go into dates with low expectations and just be yourself. You don't want a girl liking you for someone you're not. If you're a huge anime fan and a huge nerd, let that be known proudly. It's way easier to filter people this way. Although these are all simple steps, each one takes a lot of time and deliberate effort to do. But I promise that if you work hard at this, you will easily find a girlfriend and you will never need to watch another dating video again. Finally, I want to talk about one last mental block you might run into, and that is the kicking the can down the road mentality. Some guys want to get every single aspect of their lives perfect before they pursue any type of relationship. They say they'll start dating when they get in shape, and when they finally have a nice physique, they say they would need a better job. And when they get a better job, they find another excuse to put off putting themselves out there. While you're self-improving, there's nothing wrong with putting yourself into the market. You don't have to be a finished product to be someone worthwhile of seeing. As long as you've started your self-improvement journey, you can put yourself out there. With that said, I hope you enjoyed our first and last dating advice video.